Okay, today we're ready for the big shape. And the big shape is to turn all of these guys into something that looks like the mock-up that we've got. And the mock-up looks like one that's finished and ready to go. We luckily had one survivor that we were able to glue all its pieces together, so that was the basis for the pattern for the mock-up. But there are a number of different grooves and shapings on here. The first thing we have to do is to get the basic outline, because these guys, which are the blanks for, actually this one has already been done, but maybe it's a good thing to talk about this one being done. These guys are blanks which will turn into things that have the outside shape as this one does, and that's the outside shape of this one. And the first thing to do is to achieve that outside shape. Looking at, for example, this one, you can see the difference between a blank and one that's been shaped, perhaps. You know, there's extra material here and there until it's been run through the shaper and just cut exactly to size. Once it's cut exactly to size, then we assign it a left and a right, because the left and rights are different. And once it's been assigned a left and right, then we begin to shape the various curves and bits here that have to be done in order, because if they aren't done in order, some of them become impossible to go back and do just because of the way the things are cut out. So I have to pay a lot of attention to that.
So you have your shaper or jig
over here, and I had one on here that I was just running as a sort of a test run and ran a half a cut on, but you know, I can put a new one on if you want. We can start with that, and this one can set off and wait. We're going to swap out jigs so we can cut the inside curve here. So we need one or the other of these guys, which would be, it doesn't really matter a lot at this stage because we're just doing the overall shaping of the thing. When it comes to doing the molding, there's a left and a right jig, because when these things are initially just shaped out, they're unisex, as it were, but once we've started to do any molding on them, then they become either a right or a left-hand piece. So that's where we'll make a decision about what's to be right, what's to be left. If one of these is a little better on the outside, we'll make it the outside. If there's a knot or something or other, we'll put that against the car and take account of those things. But for my next trick, we will set this thing in here, trying to get everything about where it should be. What happens here is I've got along the back a line which is my best fit line. So for example, I'm going to swing this thing this way and that until I see that line being pretty close to where the back is, and then clamp it in place. And the issue is the direction in which the cutter is spinning and the direction that the grain is on the piece. I don't have any problem at all with this cutter running this way down this particular piece where the grain's pretty straight anyway. However, going around this tight curve where the grain pattern is changing, and you can see the grain here because of the sapwood, and of course here the grain's running again that way. Going in this direction, my feeling is that if I were to start shaping down here with this cutter going this way, that the probability that it would dig into the grain and take a bite somewhere and just chip out a big piece is high enough that I think what I want to do with the shaping of this bit is pull the cutter off, turn it over so the blades are facing the other way, run the machine in the other direction, so the cutters will be going this way along this rather than this way, the way it's going to be running here, because this would turn in this direction. And I think the probability of grabbing and chipping out is too great. So I think on all of these guys, for the inside curves, I'm going to be running the shaper one way for this end of it, turn the cutter over and run it the other way for that end. I feel safer doing that. Probably I could get away with running it backwards the whole length, but you know, why do that? I'm not in a big hurry. So we cut the outside curve on this piece. Now all of these pieces will need their inside curve shaped so that it's actually the shape that we're trying to make here.